Hi everyone, my name is Faith Agugu and I am FemFlix guest curator for this month. I'm going to be sharing with you my 3 picks from the FemFlix catalogue. I'm a psychotherapist, a mindfulness coach and an energy healer, and I work mainly with women, supporting them around any mental health issues, but also particularly I work with women who are struggling with midlife through my Silver Sirens program. So I have 2 businesses that I run, very passionate about them, and one of them is called The Healing Process. And through the healing process, I do all my wellness and therapy work. And my other business is Silver Sirens, Redefining Aging. And this is a project that works with women in midlife and above to navigate and to rewrite the negative narrative around women and aging. So my 3 picks for the month are Mama Africa. And I chose Mama Africa because it's a documentary about the life of Mariam Makeba. And as an African woman, Mariam Makeba is considered the queen of soul, the queen of music. As a young woman growing up in the UK, I remember hearing Mariam's songs, and she was a hero of mine from a very, very long time. What I love about Mariam Makeba is the songs had so much meaning. Mariam was exiled from South Africa and was not able to go back to South Africa for 27 years. And the only way that she could help her people through apartheid was for her to sing about their plight. And she brought the plight of the South African black people to mainstream. And in the documentary we can see that she goes to the UN and she shares from such a vulnerable heart place about the plight of her country, and she asked governments around the world to boycott South Africa, to put some pressure on this oppressive system. I also love the way the influence, the impact that she had on Pan-Africanism through the 60s, and how all the African presidents at the time, every single one of them loved her, and she had such a huge influence. And I can't, I really love her story because I can't imagine the pain it would be to not be able to go back to the country of your birth. That would just be so painful. So I loved it. And I also love the cinematography. It was so beautiful to see the way they incorporated like really old black and white footage to new footage, using the songs. Beautifully done. The next documentary that I'm going to talk about that I loved was Venus and Serena. And I actually watched this a while ago, but I watched it again especially for this because I really, really got so much out of it. As a person of color, it's so unusual for us to see role models that look just like me. Seeing the Williams sisters on TV was like seeing like real black people. We're so used to seeing very, very westernized black people on TV, if we saw them at all, that seeing these sisters who did not change their hair, they wore their hair the way that most black people would wear it at that time, and they weren't trying to fit in, they were just themselves. And I found that so inspiring. And what I loved too as a psychotherapist, I loved the dynamic between the sisters. And I love that Venus, being the oldest, she felt really protective of Serena, and she almost kind of let her win in a lot of spaces. And I loved the idea, I think one of the commentators said that it felt like Serena had so much more to gain. She had that extra fight, she had so much more to prove. And I really, really like that. And I'm just watching that dynamic. I love the dynamic of their father, the fearlessness and how protective he was of them, and how through his really being very protective of them, gave them so much confidence. It's like they always knew he had their backs, which made it so much easier for the challenges that they went through as black women entering into this space that was predominantly, had always been before that, a white male dominated space. And the way they navigated it and the challenges they faced and the pushback by some of the audiences, some of the ways they were treated was very unkind, but their strength to navigate that, I loved it. And I also loved watching the way the sisters unwind, with karaoke. After a match, now they'll be getting their massage and they'll be singing, and it just felt so human, so real. You could so relate to them. My next movie is The Songkeepers, And I love our Indigenous culture. I feel so blessed to I live in Gadigal country here in Sydney. I feel so blessed to live here and just to really see the richness of our Indigenous culture. And this movie was just mind-blowing for me, because bringing together sacred German poetry and being sung in Indigenous in language. And then this amazing choir master from Africa facilitating this journey for these women. I loved when the women said, to him, I want you to make us sound like a proper choir. And he took it on. And then after they'd been practicing for a while, they go to Germany, and he describes that process like a boomerang, where this German sacred poetry is spoken and sung in Indigenous language, and then is brought back to the German people. What a beautiful circle. So I love that. My favorite moments in my career was starting my second business called Raw Fashion Agency. I started this business in 2001. And look, it took a lot of courage for me to do that business, and I grew so much. Very, very challenging. It kind of tested everything in my power. I was very, very, it was very, very challenging for me. And some parts of it was quite painful because I had to really grow. But I learned so much about myself, and it really gave me the opportunity to shine. The other highlight of my career was starting Silver Sirens Redefining Aging 4 years ago. And I started that because women in my private practice were frightened, absolute terror around aging. And it made me realize that my African culture embraces aging, and how, in a way, I felt age privilege because I have this wonderful culture that embraces aging, that I never had this negativity to unpack. I'm looking forward to getting older. For me, the older people are revered, they're respected. They're the most favorite person in the room. The oldest person's always the favorite person in the room. Everyone kind of gathers around them, hanging off every word. So as an African woman, we're always looking forward to getting older. I can't wait. My latest projects, if you want to keep in touch with what I'm doing, follow me on Silver Sirens Redefining Aging, or The Healing Process. These are my two passion projects that I love, both of them. And I'll be doing so much more work around the whole Champion Women 50 plus. As a proud post-menopausal woman, I feel like it's my calling, my mission to change the negative narrative around women and aging. I hope you enjoyed my 3 picks, and happy viewing. Bye-bye.